welcome or welcome back to Life on the Franch. Today we're going to be talking about weddings. We're actually going to be talking about it quite a lot comparatively to before because my wedding is in less than a month. I'm getting married on June 12th and I'm very excited, but I did not realize all of the ins and outs of getting married in terms of the planning, like the last minute stuff. And so I thought I would put together this video because we just assigned all of our seats for our reception, for like the dinner. And I thought I would share some pieces of advice or things that I've learned for making assigned seatings at weddings for people who are either having to plan without their parents or without like their guardians, or just are like me and like new, they're the oldest of their generation, so it's the first wedding that's happened in like 20 years, so everything is like different, and now we have the internet and whatever. So the first thing that I want to say is that not everybody has assigned seats. The reason we chose to do assigned seats at dinner is partially because of COVID. We were going to do them anyway, but especially with COVID, we wanted to make sure that everyone was going to be seated with somebody in their pod or with people who were like vaccinated that we knew of. We obviously didn't ask anybody, but these are our close friends and family, so we typically know. And we wanted to make sure it was going to be as safe as possible. So that's one reason we did the assigned seats. And we don't have it, I should mention, like a seat assigned at the table. We just have like the table, and then they can sit by whoever they want that's also at their table, because trying to figure out something like that detailed just does not seem worth it to me. But if you have a family that it's a lot of politics involved, maybe that is something worth investing your time in. But for us, it just wasn't necessary. But we wanted to have assigned seats over something like open seating, even without the pandemic, because what we've found is when there aren't assigned tables, like at the weddings that we've gone to, and the research we've done online, is that it becomes sort of this like weird like gapping at tables, where it's like a family of 5 sits down at a table and there's 3 extra seats. Okay, who sits there? If another couple sits there, then maybe a single person sits there, but they don't know anybody there, so they're probably not going to want to sit there. Or what we found at church, where we're not having assigned seating, but we're having like first come, first serve sort of seating, is when we go to other people's masses, especially like the friends, like people who know they're not supposed to be in the first 2 rows, but don't know where they compare to everybody else. There tends to be this like gap between the very front and like the middle or middle back, because people feel like they don't deserve to be like super close. Like I remember going to a wedding once, and I was with a bunch of my friends, and we were all like, okay, so do you think this is far back, and should we go back another 2? I feel like maybe they have more family. I don't know how many family members are coming, and it just being super awkward, and then the spacing just looked super weird. And like I'm a visual person, and so it bothers me that like it was going to be, there would be these holes for pictures, and I didn't like it. So what we're doing, again, also partially because of the pandemic, is we have ushers, and when people show up to the church, they'll be directed to the first open pew. We're not doing like groom side and bride side. It's going to be like first open row, like this. Obviously with a few exceptions for like immediate family that should be towards, the front. But other than that, it'll just be, okay, whoever got here first gets to sit there because they got here first. But anyhow, going back to the reception, some hacks that my mom just started like doing, I didn't even know we were going to do this. So you can have like people's names. There's a number of ways to show people like what table they're going to be sitting at. There's the very pretty but not always practical like mirror where it's like names on a list, or it's like a piece of paper but it's like names for each table, and so it's organized by table. Or you can have it like a list of names but it's on one paper, but then it's listed by like alphabetically by last name. And I think going with tables is a bad move if you have a lot of people coming to the wedding. Obviously with like COVID, our wedding is pretty small, but our original list was about 330 people, and so having to search through 330 names, so probably like 20 or 33 tables to find your name somewhere in 33 different tables is really hard. And then you have 332 or 329 people waiting behind you to then look at the same thing as you. So that's why I don't like the table thing. And the line applies to if you only have one place, like where people are sitting for their dinner, people are going to be like waiting to figure out where they're sitting. And I just don't want people like waiting around in line. A, because pandemic, but B, also just like it's not fun. Like I'd rather people like find their table and then go to the bar. Like, the flow of it is better. So what people do instead is they'll get like individual pieces of paper or like tent cards for each person, organized by last name on a table, and then when they pick up their name, it'll say on there what table number they are, and then they just have to go find the table. And it's more spread out, so more people can get to the table and like look for their names. People will know where along the table they should be because it's alphabetical, and it's just a smoother process. So we have these cards. So after we made these cards for everybody, when we went to make the seat assignments, we could use the cards to actually like sort. Okay, this is this side of the family, this is the other side of the family, these are the friends, like you're dealing cards, organizing them into piles. And it really helped me because I'm like a visual person to have like stacks of names and then be able to go within that like stack and be like, okay, within this side of the family, okay, these families, kind of belong together and this kind of belongs together. And it made the process so much faster to be able to use the actual cards for that. And then once we had all of them grouped by table by using the cards, we could then put those onto like a piece of paper and make like a list and count how many people are going to be at each table, so we know what kinds of tables we need to have, because our venue has king's tables, like larger rounds and smaller rounds. So we didn't have a strict like every table is 10 people thing, but we did have like max numbers on each table. So then after we did that, to help visualize the layout of the room, something that my mom did, which was really helpful for me, was we actually took a piece of paper, cut it up into like the tables. So they had the rectangular like king's tables, then we had like larger rounds, and then we cut out like smaller rounds. And we put the like group name for each table on the pieces of paper. And then we could make a rectangle that represents your hall or venue, or whatever shape you have. And then you could place the tables and move them around. So you're not like having to like constantly redraw, like, okay, what if we move this table here? Flip page, redraw everything, but with one table moved. Having it so that like the tables were on their own sheets of paper and like cut out, so you could just slide them around your base model of your venue, was so much easier and so much faster than redrawing all the time or trying to just think it through in your head, or trying to like do it on like a document. You could do it if you are doing like if your parents don't live near you, or whoever you're planning your wedding with, your maid of honor, your best woman, your best man, your man of honor, whoever is helping you plan. You can do that same thing with like a Google Doc and just make the shape and then drag the shapes around on the piece of paper. But for being in person, I liked cutting it out and being able to pick them up and move them around. Because then when you were thinking about it, you could just kind of hold it. And for me, when I get distracted really easily, it's nice to know what I'm supposed to be doing. And that really helped speed the process along as well. What it also helped us do was sometimes when you're making your seating arrangements for dinner, there's this sort of like expectation that like people, like certain groups of people have like the privilege of like being closer to the front or closer to the dance floor or what have you. And this like helped us make it so the most number of people like can be right on the edge of the dance floor given our like layout. And we only have like one row of tables that's like it's a row and then there's this row. Nothing is more than one table from the dance floor. So that was really neat. But I know these all may be like very like everybody knows them tricks. I'm not trying to say I'm some sort of wedding planner. I'm not. I'm just a person trying to plan a wedding. But I did not think of these things. And I felt really lucky to have my mom be able to help me, like, teach me the tricks of planning a wedding. And I just know a lot of people may not have that. And so I thought, if I can help like one person make their wedding planning go easier, I will. Because I've been looking to YouTube for tons of advice when it comes to like wedding planning. Like, what signs do I need? Like, what where is a good place to get like placemats? What are like things that are easy to like make yourself versus what should you just buy or rent? I've mentioned her before on my channel, but Jamie Wolfer has been like a big help to me, and she's an actual wedding planner. But I just hadn't seen something as like concrete tips like this on her channel yet. But she does have a really good video about guest lists and like where to draw the line and how to like where you can cut people off and like who to invite. And I'll link that video down below. But I did want to put out a video just about like assigning seats. So if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of our content, click subscribe, ding the bell button to know when we post, which is every day, something a little bit different, just whatever we're thinking about at that moment. But most importantly, I hope you have a wonderful day, and if you're planning a wedding, I hope you have a wonderful wedding planning experience, or as good as it can be, and I hope your wedding is beautiful. Bye!